Hello, welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this episode is When You Know Who You Are, You're Unstoppable. I really like that. This is it's going to be really beneficial and really interesting too. And so, our expert guest today, her name is Rashi Nayar. She's a self realization coach. She helps her clients stay anchored in their highest frequency, which is love, peace, and abundance. And from these higher states of consciousness, they're able to remain focused and become more abundant in all aspects of their life. So, Rashi Nayar, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Rico. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a topic we really haven't talked much about, the spiritual aspect of life, and then this is something that's really important in my life. So I'm really happy to have you here, and so we can get this information out to as much people as we possibly can. So
Yes.
always my first question from I'd like to get just real briefly, tell us how you got into spirituality and then deciding that you it was a good idea that you could help people expand their spirituality.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been an 18-year long journey, Rico. In 2007, I lost my pet, who's a dog, and he met with a car accident and he died in my arms. And that was the first time I had experienced unconditional love from
Hmm.
someone. Someone just loved me for who I am. I don't have to prove, I don't have to be anyone else except for me. In front of animals are like that, right? And when he died, that basically pushed me into a spiritual journey to discovering who I truly am. It led me to ask deeper questions in life, like who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? And that I was depressed for a very long time, low level anxiety for 18 years of my life until 2025, where I lost another family member this year. And that woke me up to realize who I truly am. And when I did, I've become unstoppable. I've gotten out of my depression. I've not only gotten out of my depression, I'm writing my first book. I'm working with soul aligned clients, and I've also launched my first app. And I'm on your beautiful TV show as well. So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, we're definitely going to tell people about this amazing new app that you came up with. I think it's going to be
Yes.
really beneficial.
Mhm.
But I think that so I want to ask a question though is how do you think that not many people really have that awakening to really discover who they are, and they kind of just go through life just reacting to things, or just
Yeah.
are just doing whatever other people tell them they should do and all this. So tell us a little bit more. Can you explain a little bit more about how you think that came about in your life?
Yes, and I was doing that too. I mean, I've met spiritual teachers, I've been with spiritual mystics, I've read spiritual books. It was like a whole path of 18 years where I was constantly looking for enlightenment. I wanted to become enlightened. That was kind of the goal because when my dog died, I was questioning everything about who am I, why am I here, what's my purpose, what is God, and all of that. And when I finally realized, even though I realized who I am, I met myself in stillness and silence. When I came out of the experience of the high frequency that I had touched, I dipped down, I spiraled, and everything triggered me even more. Which means that the world really triggered me a lot. My husband triggered me a lot. Everything triggered me a lot. And my kids, everything, right? Just everything was really, really crazy. So my daughter is here right now. So what happened was that when I realized who I am, I started repeating to myself these two words: I am. And that's it. When I repeated myself, I am, that's it, which means that I am, I exist, and that's enough. I already naturally returned to my original state, my original nature, which is peace, which is love, and which is abundance. These two words can magically bring us back to our original state. Most people think that being high, like staying on a high vibration, means, being all happy and being all cheerful and being giggly. But that's not what it is. Being in high vibration all the time is being peaceful, is being balanced, is being loving, and knowing who you truly are, connecting with your authenticity. And when you're being authentic, you're generally happy.
Yeah,
So this
and
was my journey. And this is a practice every single day, Rico. Even though I got the awakening, I found, like, I got the spiritual awakening. I was blown away with, how powerful we actually are. But I came down from the high very, very quickly. It wasn't a permanent state. And so every day is a practice to stay anchored in that reality. And that's what I help my clients do, is to help them stay anchored in that reality with tools and, the work that I do with my coaching.
Were you meditating when you had this awakening?
My aunt passed away this year in June, on June 11th, and I was very close to her. She died of MS. She had MS,
Mm.
and and you wouldn't believe it. After 3 days after that, like for 3 days continuously after she passed, the 12th, 13th, and 14th of June, she was in my head. And she was constantly telling me, Rashi, stop, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And before that, I had built seven-figure businesses, but inside I was depressed. I was chronically living with anxiety most of the time. Like I
Like
had mental health issues
like
constantly,
like so many people today. Yeah.
like so many people. So I wasn't content with who I am. I was still looking for more and more and more, and I wasn't really arriving anywhere. It was like going to the next milestone, but you weren't really arriving. So, and then I was like, what is the point of it all? What is the point? And so I just stopped and I sat in silence with myself for 2 months. Besides being with my kids and besides cooking and cleaning, I blocked my calendar and I didn't take any new clients. For those 2 months, I was just stayed as the witness, as I am. And that brought me home to my true self, and the joy that I experienced in that, I just cannot, it's very hard to explain. It's so beautiful. And it was bliss, it was pure bliss. And now every day, this is my practice, is to just return home to who I am and to take my clients there.
Yeah, that's so well said. Thank you for that. Uh, I just want to add, Rashid, is that we talk about who I am, but who am I? It's a little bit still because people think who I am. They shall think of their name or their profession or
Yes,
their material in the material
yes.
word. So I like to tell people it's not really so much who you are; it's what you are, and what you are.
Mm.
We all are eternal spiritual beings, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that.
And that's the
Yes.
realization that we really need to come to. It's not so much, not to identify so much with our physical body and our physical who we are and what we're doing. I mean, all that's important. We're here to do all those things,
Sure.
but we can keep in mind that we are all one. Really, we all come from spirit.
Mm.
We're all created from the same source, right? And
Yes,
that we are eternal spiritual beings. And as you found out, that is what will give us peace and joy, and then we can live a really a productive, joyful, fulfilled life.
exactly. What you just said, I experienced that oneness. I really directly experienced that. And, we say that casually, that, we're the soul. And we say it, even I used to say that, we're souls and we've come from God. And it's like saying to an orange that, that's an orange before we've even eaten it. We have not had the direct experience. And
Yeah.
I mean, the word soul itself or spirit could be anything. We don't really know. No one's ever seen a soul as such, right?
Hmm.
It's something that as a metaphor we use for spirit.
Right.
But what I do is I help them really have a direct experience of who they are. We can call it soul, we can call it spirit, we can even call it creator. We can call it just Atman. And in India, we have this word called Atman, which is another name for soul.
Hmm.
But what this is it's a direct experience where you see yourself for the very first time naked, completely, like without labels, without forms, without identities, without even a name. And this is a process that I'm really passionate about helping people. This is what I do. I guide my clients back to who they really are. From that, what they see and what they witness is how powerful and how infinite, how eternal they are. And I know your work is all about fearless aging, right? And this is where when people discover who they are, they actually become fearless, which means they're no longer afraid of dying, because what dies is the body. Who they are actually is pure awareness, that they don't die.
Exactly.
and that is the beauty of it. And then we become fearless, which means that and becoming fearless doesn't really mean that we don't have fears anymore. you know it just means that we're no longer afraid of our fears. It
Exactly.
just means that we are still going and doing, we're like, for example, I have a message to share. I'm still over here, even though I get maybe 3 to 4 hours a day to work on my business. And I have 2 kids under 4, right? I'm a new mom. So, but
Wow.
you just do what you've got to do because you're on mission now. And so that is what it is.
Yeah, that's so well said, Lashi. Okay, we only got a couple of minutes left, so talk about this app that you have and
Sure.
where they can get it and how it's going to help them.
Sure, absolutely. So I have a free app that I've created. I've built it from scratch. And this app has, a series of questions. So it is basically designed in a way that it'll first awaken you, then it will anchor you, and then you can amplify that. You can amplify your frequency to your highest level. So that's how it's designed. So first, it takes you to a set of 8 questions where the app will ask you a set of 8 questions, and it will ask you to reflect on those questions. So for example, who are you beyond your thoughts? Who are you without your thoughts? All of those questions are there. Then it will take you to anchor yourself using a mantra, which is I am, I exist, and that's enough. So that's how people are coming back to anchoring themselves. And the third is amplification. So there's also like different codes that people can use. So it's an app that they want to use daily as a practice. And once they start using it, you can start seeing results within a week, within 2 weeks. You'll start feeling joyful, you'll start feeling blissful. And especially in the world that we live right now, Rico, like people are struggling with so many mental health conditions, right? People
Right.
are stressed and people are operating from low states of consciousness, which is fear, worry, anxiety, anger, bitterness, resentment, and guilt. So if we can raise that consciousness of our people with our world, then we can create a better earth together. So this app is designed so that people can use that. And by you using that app, you just start making a positive difference in the lives of other people. So they can
Well,
find it on my website.
that, Rashi, that's so good. I really appreciate your work, and it's so needed. Yeah, we're out of time now, but I'd like to have you back another time. We can get into a little deeper. That'd be really good because it's such an important message, and I'm totally on board with what you're doing. And so, thank you for your wonderful work, and thanks for a great interview. And thanks for all of our listeners. All right, thank you
Thank you.
so much. We're
Thank
out of
you.
time. We're out of time.